Good evening, wrestling fans, and welcome to the Wrestle Talk podcast. For the next 2 hours, we will bring you the latest pro wrestling news, in-depth analysis of all your favorite promotions from across the globe, and much, much more. We will also bring you exclusive interviews with the greatest professional wrestling personalities on the local, national, and international levels. If you want to follow the Wrestle Talk podcast, check us out online at www.wrestletalkpodcast.com. You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. And now, it's time for the reigning, defending, undisputed leader in pro wrestling podcast, the Wrestle Talk Podcast.
Good evening, wrestling fans, and welcome to another great episode of the Wrestle Talk Podcast. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, we are here and ready to go. Episode 481, Wrestival, where we will be talking with Chad Cash, the CEO owner of Pay Your Dues Wrestling. And he'll be talking everything Pay Your Dues and Wrestival, the Tri-state Wrestival that'll be coming up. And we will definitely be talking all that later on in the second hour. But as always, I am not here by myself tonight. No. I do need to get my co-host in here for tonight. But ladies and gentlemen, I have a very special treat for you tonight. Tonight we had to shake things up a little bit. The Night Owl had to go off on some official business, and so we ended up with someone volunteering to help with the podcast, and we are more than happy to have him come on, and I'm more than happy that he is going to be co-hosting with me tonight. So let me get him in here, ladies and gentlemen. This very special treat for you. My co-host for the night, the one, the only, Big Daddy P.
Boy, are you in for it tonight.
I am looking forward to this. You know, and it's not often we get you on here as a co-host. We always look forward to snippets of truth, but to have you co-host tonight, Big Daddy P, this is truly, truly special and monumentous to have you on as a co-host. And I am looking forward to this. I've been looking forward to it ever since you accepted to be the co-host for the night. So thank you.
19 shows away, man. 19 to 500.
It is hard to believe.
It's fabulous. What a blessing, man, just to be able to say that you can do it, you know?
So how you doing tonight, Big Daddy?
Man, I am just blessed. I woke up this morning, so that's half the battle. And then the fact that I was able to work all day today, my wife came home safe, my children came home safe. So really, I got nothing to complain about. Plus, I get to do this for the next 2 hours. It's awesome.
I know. How much better can it get? And, you know, I thank you again for being here. I've been looking forward to this ever since, you know, I found out that you were interested in being the co-host for the night, and it's going to be exciting. Not that, you know, I don't enjoy hosting with the Night Owl. Don't get me wrong. I enjoy the hosting with the Night Owl, but, you know, this is truly something special to be able to co-host with you. So,
well, sir, love is a verb and it requires action. And if I tell my brother Renee, if I tell him I love you, and when he comes to me and says, I have a need, and I can fill it, why would I not? It's 2 hours. I mean, man, I've been getting into crosswords lately. I'm getting a little older, so I'm getting to, instead of doing the things I used to do, it's just pad to paper is much easier today. And I was working on some crosswords today, and I was thinking to myself, what am I going to do today? And I knew tonight was coming because I know we've got an awesome guest tonight. I'm really excited about all the other conversations that are going to take place because, again, it's all about wrestling, man. And I love it. I'm excited because I did get one name confirmed for show 500, and that's the Masked Saint, Chris Whaley, our buddy. He's going to come back on after a few years and talk about a brand new book that he's promoting that he wrote called Mr. President, and it could be a pro wrestler.
Well, it definitely sounds like we're off to a fire start for 500. But remember, don't give too much away now, Big Daddy. We want to have surprises that night for all of our great fans here, because we wouldn't be here without you guys. We really appreciate you tuning in, no matter whether you're watching us live or watching us on the replay. Thank you for being here. And always, share the program to others so, other people can see the Great Wrestle Talk podcast and hear the great talk that we have that goes on. And by all means, make sure that you drop your stuff in the comments, and we'll be happy to show them and let us know that you're here and everything. And we just look forward to another great episode. But as always, we cannot do this without our wonderful sponsors. So let me go ahead and roll these great sponsors here. As always, we got Royal Mills Transportation, the one and only DeJuan Mills, Nobleman's Barber Lounge, KCMO, Ask for Pete the Barber, Kincaid Arcade at the Oak Park Mall, Interstate 70 Sports Media. That's Jeremy Carp and the guys over there doing their thing. They're absolutely great. Little Popeye's Designs, where you get your very own Wrestle Talk podcast, Tumblr, and the FWWC, the world's premier fantasy wrestling group. And if you don't know about them, be sure to check them out. A lot of people do fantasy sports. They do fantasy football, fantasy baseball. Well, over in the FWWC, we do fantasy wrestling. We make our picks based on the WWE shows most of the time. Sometimes it's AEW or NXT or, and we cut promos and do role play, and we just have an absolute good time. And if you're lucky enough, you can win a championship just like this piece of hardware right here. That's where that came from. I am the longest reigning hardcore champion in the FWWC. So you win a championship, you're lucky enough you get the real thing, not some plastic thing. But definitely check us out over there. So, all right. Well, that does that part of housekeeping.
Got to pay the bills, baby. Got to pay the bills.
So, all right, let's go ahead now. And now that we've recognized our sponsors, all the bills are paid, it's time that we recognize the greatest country around, being America. So let's go ahead and play that national anthem. If you'll remove your caps, place your hands over your heart to honor America. Oops, I forgot to turn it back up. brings a tear to your eye every time or blood to your ears, one of the two. I'm not sure which.
She has the smoothest voice I've ever heard. I can imagine her screaming in my ears late at night, telling me to stop snoring. Stop snoring! She's got a great podcast, by the way, if you've ever caught it.
No, I haven't.
Oh, it's great. Yeah, she's wide open and free. She's got great guests.
So, as always, though, we here at the Wrestle Talk podcast, we like to check out other podcasts. So, may have to check it out sometime. You never know. So, all right. Well, now that we got all of that out of the way, what do you say we actually get into talking some wrestling?
Let's go.
All right, let's go ahead and let's hit that DJ money.
Mic check, mic check. Yeah. All right. Wrestle Talk Podcast. DJ Money. Yeah. Let's go. Welcome to High Spots, where we pop news like lamb chops. We dog shop, coming through the screens of a laptop and non-stop like I'm running speakers of blacktop. We hit hard like chair shots and backdrops. Like a clock flash, feel like a barely fly. Now that's hard. We up to speed while they stay slow. Wrestle Talk Podcast. Now they know we about to start the show.
That DJ Money always hitting hard. Be sure to check out DJ Money if you haven't checked him out before. He does some awesome work, and we thank him for that music. So, all right, let's go ahead and get this randomizer fired up and see how it works tonight. It tends to give Luke Roberts some problems, but let's see what happens tonight with it. Well, we didn't get the pictures loaded, but we do have the topics to discuss. So let's go ahead with that, and let's start with, according to sources, Endeavor greatly influenced the decision for WrestleMania 41 to be held in Las Vegas. Will this change public opinion of the WWE? You want to kick that off there, Big Daddy?
It makes complete sense. I mean, first of all, UFC, they're all going to get a gigantic push. They're all going to have events around that same time. So it's a win-win-win. It's three times the fun. I mean, they're going to make bank straight out. I mean, I think Vegas is the perfect spot for them right now. Although internationally, everybody wants them to be there. They need to be very strong next year. So very excited to see 41.
Yeah, definitely looking forwards to WrestleMania 41. After looking at what they did this year, want to see, can they top that? Can they get can they make it bigger and better? And I know that is a big goal for WWE, is to always go bigger and better. So definitely look forward to WrestleMania 41. With it being in Vegas, I'm a Raiders fan, so being in our stadium, that how much bigger can you get there? So I look forward to that.
Also, too, I have a feeling that this will be the last year. 41 will be the last year for a while that it comes back to the United States. I think they're going to do a lot more international dates coming forward. I don't know how many, 2, then go back 1 and 2 and go back 1, but they're going to have, because again, you've got London, you've got Paris, we already know that Saudi Arabia's Riyadh's got theirs. And we know that, but there's a lot of other countries that want them. And so it's just a matter of time. But the main part of this question is that will this change public opinion? I think if there's a couple sides of public opinion, there isn't just one type of wrestling fan. You have the people that love the WWE, that watch the WWE, and then those and really love the WWE, and then there are those that watch it and don't like the WWE, yet they watch it. And they can't shut up about it. And they bitch and complain constantly about this and about that and about this and about that. So if public opinion has anything to do with it, then they should be happy that there's just a WrestleMania coming.
Yeah, definitely. And shout out to Tyler Cooley, our boy there. Always good to see you. And yeah, as far as public opinion goes, when it comes to wrestling fans, I have said before, wrestling fans are some of the most fickle people around, and 1 minute they can be booing somebody who comes in the ring and smacks somebody with a chair or tasers them, or that sucker is a cheater. I can't believe they let him get away with that. And then, a month or so later, he can do it to somebody else that the fans happen to boo. And, oh yeah, do it again. I want to see it again. Wrestling fans are the most fickle people. They really are. And they can flip-flop back and forth so quick. But as far as, the public opinion and Endeavor being influencing the decision, they are the parent company. And, Vince is gone. So I can see Endeavor getting more involved with the booking as to where they go and stuff of that nature. And Hunter, he's doing a great job with the talent and the storylines and development and everything. He's doing a great job with that. And I think they probably want him mainly to focus on that. So yeah, I can see them becoming more involved, and whether people like it or not. So it is
also too with the Netflix deal coming up, and what people don't realize, if you're familiar with anything that's going on in Netflix, even the roasted Tom Brady, no holds bar, man. So that means PG WWE is gone. That's all I got to say. In 2025, we're going to see a whole new side of WWE. So rest assured, if it makes money, they're going to do it. Period.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I mean, that's the difference between what used to take place and what take place now, is that first it had to be through a filter of what Vince wanted. He had a specific goal always in mind. And sometimes that pigeonholed him from me being able to even work with other promotions, right? There were some doors that could never be open that are now broke wide open. And it's just the right time. It's gonna be good.
And people might as well face it. The old WWE is gone.
Yes.
WWE as you know it is no more. You're going to see more and more where Endeavor's hands are in WWE. I mean, you look at the pay-per-views, you've had Prime in the center of the ring. You've had Prime on the turnbuckles. You've had, sponsors all over the place with, WrestleMania, and, you saw it some with the last pay-per-view. So
they have to simultaneously advertise all over the world every single week in other languages, and they need money to be able to do that. And now I just love the fact that they have the capital and the tools, and they're getting smarter. The sets are smaller. Again, I think that's one topic in itself that some people are going to really be upset that they shrunk them. But the fact remains is the quicker they get in, the quicker they get out, the quicker they can get to the next place. I mean, what they do on a weekly basis, there is no other show in the world for as long as WWE has had Raw and SmackDown on that has to set up live every week. It just doesn't exist. I mean,
Yeah,
not for that long. So
yeah, you're going to see more and more endeavor in it. So, as far as public opinion, everybody has their opinion, and that's just, if you like it, great. If you don't, oh well. What are you going to do? Go watch something else? There's plenty of it out there to watch right now.
Go ahead. Don't get your tickets for WrestleMania or go into that new event that they have. It was at 40. What is it called? The world. It's the Access, the new Access. What they call it?
I know what you're talking about.
Shoot. My brain is so out of
WWE World?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, so it is what it is. And so you ready to see what other topics we got going here?
Let's go. What's up, Susie? I didn't get a chance to say that before.
Yeah, Susie and Asad both checking in. So
yes.
Great to see you guys. So let's see what the randomizer has now. Media outlets have said that Ricky Starks has spent the last few weeks injured. He has said that he was totally fine. Do these statements benefit Starks in AEW? You want to start us off, or you want me to take this one?
Go ahead.
All right. Well, in my opinion, whether he's hurt or not, you're not seeing him on AEW television a lot. So by, the press and everybody else going out there and making remarks that he's hurt, it benefits him in the way that they're keeping his name out there. They're making sure people don't forget about him, and for a lack of better term, they're keeping him relevant. Where otherwise, people may just even forget. Oh, yeah, he hasn't been around. Where's he been? But they forget. So from the aspect of him keeping his name out there, I think that does benefit him. Whether he really is hurt or not, though, or, could this be one of those storyline type things where they want to do a big surprise or something when he comes back? And by keeping him in your mind, it kind of ruins that. So I can see both sides where, yes, it can benefit him, but there are situations it could be a hindrance, too, that they keep him out there. So, what are your thoughts on it?
Any promotion is promotion, even if it's bad, even if it's news that you don't know what they're really saying because they speak out of both sides of their mouth. I really think that it will benefit AEW, but it also benefits other promotions because maybe he's trying to get out of AEW. The fact that we're talking about it means that there is definitely a benefit. Again, he probably wants to be with Cody anyway. But he's got a contract that he has to fulfill. But if he makes enough in the contract to pay the contract off in his new contract, which is if he's, because sometimes when they say they're injured, they just need a break. That's all. So, but either way, you're absolutely right. If they're talking about him, it's going to benefit AEW.
Yeah, and like Susie said, he could do like Drew and just show up anyway. Because how many times did we hear Drew was hurt? Drew isn't coming back. Drew's contract is up and he's not renewing it. Heard all this stuff about Drew, and he still shows up, whether he's got a match or not. So
it's all hype.
Exactly. And, Susie also says any publicity is good publicity, which I agree with to a certain extent. But, like you brought up, maybe if he wants out of his contract, I could see this being negative, because if he if he's not injured and it's out there that, yeah, he got hurt, and, other groups like WWE and TNA and stuff start buying into well, he must be hurt. That's why he's not there. And then he comes to him and says, look, I really want to jump ship and come over here. Are they going to take the risk on the guy who everybody says got hurt if he really is hurt and once out?
Well,
it could hurt his value that way.
Who that goes in the ring is not hurt to begin with anyway. Every match is painful. I mean, every match, everything you do in that ring hurts. So it has to hurt if you want it to look good.
Yeah, I agree. So, I think that, I don't think it's a big deal that they're saying he's hurt overall. And like I say, they're keeping the name out there and they're keeping the talk going. So,
well, he said he's fine. The media outlets say he's been injured. There's only one truth. And even if we knew the truth, does it matter?
No.
Does it change the fact that it's going to be on tomorrow and it's going to be on, it's on tonight, and wrestling is on all week long. So it's just another way to share the story.
Yeah, and somebody's going to tune in, and a lot of these people who seem to worry about, is he hurt? Is he not hurt? They're going to tune in just to see. So it's going to help their ratings that way.
That's right.
So,
for sure.
But yeah. So and Susie said something about the micro wrestlers made it look good this past weekend. And yeah, Susie and I got the opportunity to go see the micro wrestlers. They were here in Ranson, and they put on a good show. If you haven't gotten to see them and they come somewhere near you, you need to check out the micro wrestlers. They really put on a good show and they really work hard for you. And we really, really enjoyed it. And, I got the opportunity to sit down with Little Show and talk with him. And, that's up on the page. And great guy, just, really had a good time. So if you get a chance, check them out.
They definitely have their gimmicks, don't they?
Yeah. I should have uploaded some video of Micro Jackson dancing, because I do have some video of that. But maybe I can.
People love them. There's no doubt about it. And the thing is, just because they're little, right? Because they're little, it's even funnier. Because they can do moves that big guys can't do. And they do them in such a way that just entertain the crowd, There is some good again, that the micro is a brand, right?
Yes.
So outside of that brand, there is other little wrestlers who who are out there who aren't part of that program, who work on the independent level. And we've booked a few. One of them was so drunk he couldn't even walk, so he was easy to carry. And that's not a joke, it's true. And so then they figured they would just throw him around, and the crowd loved it. But anytime you have a small wrestler, even throughout history, the whole King Kong Bundy situation, I could still see the video clip in my head of him throwing them around like it was nothing, and just professional wrestling has many different what I call genres. You got death matches, you've got tag matches, you've got championship matches, you've got gimmick matches, and their style has to be probably one of the most unique in it, that you never know what to expect until you open up the gift. And whatever you get is whatever you're going to get. Even on The Wizard of Oz. They had a problem with alcohol and little people. Many of them drink a lot. So, but again, just pick them up, put them down. It's no problem.
Yeah, I actually have several pictures from that night. I've got some videos from that night, but unfortunately, my my phone got broke. I dropped it, and I've had a lot of issues with it since then, and I haven't really been able to post the stuff that I had with my phone issues. So hopefully
was it backed up on the cloud?
Yeah, I've still got it, and
Good.
hopefully I'll be able to get it up eventually, within the next day or two. But
careful now.
But yeah, we had a good time there. So
I crack myself up sometimes. Oh,
I
love it. You know what I love about this show, man? There is no like format really. It just kind of just flows, But thank you for driving the ship, because I might take us out into waters that we don't want to get into.
It's always a good time when we get on the show, irregardless what happens. We always seem to have a good time. So
usually I'm only in about 15, 20 minutes, and then I get about 15 minutes before. So I only get to see a small window, and so to actually see all the other sides of the show is a privilege.
Well, and as I've said before, it's an absolute privilege to be able to have you for the full show tonight. And hopefully you'll be able to to pop in and do some more shows with us.
Lord is the only one who knows the plans he has for me. I'm just again thankful to wake up. I'll be thankful to go to bed, and if I wake up again, that's fine, because I know either way I win. So it just gives me hope,
Susie says, we love having you. Awesome to see you.
I wish I had the money to fly you guys out here. I'd spend it. I would spend it if I had it. That would rock.
Well, we appreciate the thought, So let's go ahead and hit that randomizer and get back into some more wrestling topics here. What do we got?
Looks like it's working great.
So another WrestleMania topic here. WrestleMania 41 will be held over Easter weekend in Las Vegas. Will this scheduling increase or decrease viewership? So, Big Daddy, what do you think?
I don't think it's going to change it at all. Honestly, because it's Easter, right? What happens after? Okay, so usually Easter morning, if you go to church, and then maybe you have lunch after that, and then maybe you have Easter dinner, possibly. But it starts at such a good time that you're pretty much finished with any family obligations anyway, and you can turn an Easter celebration right into a WrestleMania celebration, because normally it's around my birthday. This time it's going to be way after my birthday. So I honestly, I think we'll show up anytime they say it's WrestleMania. I don't think it's going to decrease it at all.
Yeah, I don't think that it's going to have a lot of bearing. I mean, yeah, you're going to have some people traveling. You may have some people who would have originally wanted to buy tickets that may not get to buy them now because they're going to be out of town or whatever. So there may be some impact, but let's look at it. Thanksgiving, you have football games, and here lately, even Christmas, we've had football games. Do their attendance drop just because it's Christmas and Thanksgiving?
No, they still have a crew there. I'm not sure if they're sold out, but they definitely still have a good show and have a good showing. Yeah, thank you. Good point.
And shout out there to Dave Ruby. That's always a friend here to see in the in the comments. This is a threat to attendance over a religious holiday is Sin City. Think about it. Yeah, well, they're going to be Sin City, so is it really going to make a difference?
Not at all.
Shout out to Brandon there checking in. And Susie's birthday is Thursday, so
Happy birthday.
But yeah, so I don't think it's going to make that big of a difference that it's Easter weekend. Like I said, it doesn't make difference to the NFL that it's Thanksgiving weekend or Christmas weekend. You've always had bowl games over. Weren't they over Christmas holiday normally? And they weren't affected. So I don't think it's going to make that big of a difference. We're wrestling fans, and we're going to watch it regardless of what we have to do to watch it. So, all right. Let's see here. Let's get that randomizer going again and find out what else it has. It's been doing pretty good tonight, other than the fact that, I did forget the pictures. At Backlash, Tonga Loa joined the Bloodline. How does this addition change the dynamic of the Bloodline?
There's 7 more that aren't even in yet. I mean, this is just the beginning. I thought they should have made an entrance at WrestleMania. Bloodline rules, almost do like a what's the heck is that match called when all the wrestlers are around the ring?
Lumberjack?
A lumberjack, but a bloodline. And put them all around, and you get out of that ring, they'll beat the heck out of you. I thought that would have been a perfect time to bring them in, but they didn't respond to my tweet. So I tried. Thought it was awesome, though. There's a lot of them. I want to see Alpha Junior come, but the problem is that Alpha Junior is in Pennsylvania. He's on the East Coast having shows now, and he's got a splash that, and he's got to be over 300 pounds. He's got just some moves that these guys are so agile, man. It's incredible. There's just and there's no stopping them. There's just no way. There's just so many coming.
Yeah, I mean, and the Bloodline, they just seem to adding more and more. And the story for Bloodline has been going for a while now. My question is, are people getting tired of the Bloodline? Are they ready for a different story?
Well, that's why they got Jay out.
So to me, the dynamic of the Bloodline, with hopefully Roman will be back soon. I mean, I know he's got a lot of stuff going on, and
I think he's on vacation. I think he's finally relaxing after 3.5 years, and I think he deserves it. Spend time with his kids. I don't know if his older ones are graduating, so he deserves a break. They already saw him at the beach, and so.
Well, and I have heard that he's going to be making movies too.
Well, he could be. He's going to do the same. It'll be a slow drip, Yeah, I don't know why he wouldn't. That makes sense.
Yeah. So.
Well, and I also thought too, Rikishi could have come out, and he didn't. So, and because there was a Maivia that was inducted into the Hall of Fame, there were not many there celebrating.
Well, and a lot of the ideas that you have, I don't know that they're out of the question. I think that, some of them you could very well see, because I totally believe, and a lot of people have said it, and I think it's right, you're going to see Roman come back eventually. I believe you're going to see Roman, Jimmy, and Jay reunite. And you're going to end up with Bloodline versus Bloodline, and it'll probably take place in the War Games match.
I still think that the Shield's going to come back with Moxley.
I would love to see it. I don't think
he's done pretty much everything he can in AEW. I mean, he's the one thing about him, he might not be one of my favorites, but he does put in his time and he puts his body through hell every single match. He without a doubt.
Yeah, at Mania, when that Shield music hit, I was hoping to see Moxley come out there so bad.
And they blew up
that would have been awesome, but
they blew up his phone totally. He was sleeping. He was taking a nap.
Yeah.
He didn't even know, I thought that, but at the same time too, Seth Rollins shaved his face and cut his hair. So I don't think they're going to do the Shield yet. He's got to grow his hair out. He's all short at the Kentucky Derby. I mean, I didn't even recognize.
But for Moxley to come back, he's holding that New Japan Championship right now.
Yeah, that's why you can't. But at the same time, you never know. Of course.
Brandon says he'll look at the contract and bleed.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt.
And that's the thing. Moxley, he does have a lot of blood in his matches, but WWE just, they're coming around to that blood and stuff more and more here lately.
Wait till Netflix.
It could very well. He could come back and bleed on WWE TV every week, just like he does AEW. You never know.
I don't know if Vince ever liked him to begin with. I think Hunter brought him in thinking that he was going to be a certain way, and they knew what problems he had. Going in, they weren't surprised. They knew. But now that Vince is gone, again, a lot of people can come back. So
this is true. I think a lot of people did leave WWE because of Vince. And Vince, he had it in his mind how he wanted to use a certain type of person. And if you didn't fit that mold, you weren't going to be used correctly. And there's a lot of people who weren't used correctly or weren't used at all. And now I think you're seeing, with Hunter at the helm, you're seeing a lot more people used in different ways. But there are also a few, like a lot of the ones that just got released. No, you don't see them getting used even under Hunter, but that's because they would work under Vince's scheme, but I don't think they can really be used under the scheme that Hunter has.
Well, and as he said, it's not that they released them. They just didn't renew their contracts. I mean, right. He made a very valid point that, football, basketball, they release people every day. You just can't keep them around for the purpose of keeping them around. Back in the old days, they did that because they owed somebody a favor.
Well, and you gotta clean house to make room for the new people coming in.
And there's a lot of new. That funnel is full, without a doubt. But they all don't need flippers all the time either. So, there still has to be a variety of talent. I mean, look at the Viking Raiders. That Ivar man, I mean, he barely sweats. He's bigger than me. I sweat just going to the bathroom. So the fact that he's able to do all that he does, and we wouldn't have known all that he can do if they didn't put him up against Bronson Reed and even recently Obi Femi on NXT. I thought that was a freaking incredible match, man. Some of the matches on NXT now I'm so glad I DVR it, because the Wrestle Talk podcast is right in the middle of NXT. And so, but fortunately I DVR it, so I'll watch it later. But man, some of the things, I mean, Yvonne was on Raw. I mean, they're pushing him up fast. So I know that's a separate topic though, but you know.
Yeah, I honestly DVR the NXT myself, so I know exactly what you're saying with that.
I DVR AEW. So
yeah, I do too.
Again, you just never, if depending on what the news is, like see or knowing about the yes, yeah, it is, and the mixture and all these talents that are bringing over these seasoned veterans coming over, Natalia, and I mean, and even two sweet boys, the good brothers, just fabulous, man. It's great. They're putting them over. You know, Baron Corbin spent quite a bit of time over there. So again, they're just trying to get eyes on the product, and they know that Tuesday night, what do you have to choose from?
Yeah, exactly. You know, you've got NXT or you've got the Wrestle Talk podcast.
Hey, that's it. But could it combine? Could a member of the NXT be on the Wrestle Talk podcast? You never know with Big Daddy P what might happen. You just don't know. I mean, could you imagine someone being under contract allowed to do other things besides WWE? Is it possible?
You never know in this day and age, you know, especially with the doors that have been opened lately.
You never know. Never say never in this business.
You know, if that were to happen, we may just have to roll out the red carpets. You never know.
Oh, no, I guarantee you if that happens, we'll be rolling out the red and the yellow carpet. Hoping I can get him. I'd love to get Hogan on. I would love to do that. That would rock. It's not hard. He's out of Florida. Take a little bit of groundwork, but who knows? You never know. Yes,
Brandon
correct.
says the forbidden door is open.
Yeah, it is. There are special contracts out there for certain talent. Steve Austin, yeah, he wouldn't even come to WrestleMania. So I don't know. That's kind of a, you know, us and WrestleMania. It just doesn't seem possible. So, but I guess with God, anything is possible.
Well, the Wrestle Talk podcast is bigger than WrestleMania, right?
I don't know. Do you have that many views one day a year of over how many billion? Not yet. We're trying. We'll get there. It takes time. I mean,
Good afternoon, Gabe.
How many did Wrestle Talk start with on the first show? I wasn't on the first show.
You know, I have been backing up the old shows from Wrestle Talk, and I actually have the very first episode backed up already, and but I can't tell you how many people it had. That was back when the radio days, and
are they going to show a clip of it on show 500?
I
think it would be great.
We might be able to
look how
play
far it's come. I mean,
a audio clip of it.
500 shows. Did they ever do 2 shows a week, or has it always been 1?
From what I've seen, I think it's mostly been 1. There may have been a couple times that they did 2 in 1 week, but I think it was mostly 1 show a week.
I mean, that's a good amount of shows. It's a lot of work. Yeah, thank you. Are you going to be coming?
Loves you
is he going to be joining us today?
I don't believe he's joining us tonight.
Oh, don't we have room for a third window? He's always entertaining.
We do, and he's always welcome to join, but
no, it's a choice.
Exactly. So
no pressure.
All right, so let's go ahead and this randomizer's been working pretty good here. Let's go ahead
It
and
might be
see.
operator error. That's all.
Let's see how it works this time.
See?
According to an interview prior to Backlash, Kevin Owens has 9 months left on his WWE contract. Does he stay with WWE or go to a different promotion or just retire altogether?
He ain't going anywhere.
Yeah, I don't think he will either. I think they will re-sign him. I think he'll stay with WWE. I don't foresee him going to another promotion. I mean, he's already been in ROH before, and so obviously he wouldn't jump over to AEW to be on ROH again. I can't see him going to TNA, and I mean he could possibly go to AEW, but I honestly don't think he'd be the best fit in AEW. I really don't. I think he's best suited right where he is. The only other place he might try is if he went to New Japan, but even then, I think he's best fit where he is.
Hasn't he been there already?
I think he has, but of course, it's been proven it's not that you can't go back.
No, yeah, he's not. Yeah, he's not going. He'll have a Legends deal. He'll be around. He'll be around.
And Brandon says he'll stay. Sammy resigned. I haven't heard that.
Sammy resigned from where?
That's what I was wondering. I hadn't heard anything about Sammy resigning. Sammy still holds the title.
Are we breaking news? No doubt.
And he also says AEW has terrible booking. And I believe that. I believe they do.
They're working with what they got, man.
Oh, he says resign. Not resign, resign.
Yes, resign. Thank you.
And unless you're good with the Bucks. Yeah. Now, Gabe says honestly he likes AEW.
It's right. It's pro wrestling. One of my number one bookers that I use loves Orange Cassidy. I can't stand him, but he loves him. He says it's the greatest gimmick since The Undertaker. I said, whoa. But again, some people like Coke, some people like Pepsi.
Gabe says really is WCW. And Brandon said it's cool for what it is. And I tend to like Orange Cassidy though myself, but AEW, you're starting to see them now become watered down. I mean, just like I submitted a question last week. I don't think it's in the randomizer anymore, but was it Max Caster who was suspended?
Yes.
After his little rap rant, if that's what you want to call it, after they lost the title. So you're definitely starting to see them get a little watered down and a little. Hey, let's kind of rein these guys back in a little bit. And Gabe agrees that it's watered down. So,
I mean, the fact that they had to put Tony Khan down.
Yeah, I mean, I think they were letting the inmates run the asylum probably a little too much. Now they got to rein them back, And Brandon says they have their moments. They have wrestlers he loves to watch, Samoa Joe and a few others. And they do. They have wrestlers that a lot of people love to watch. But I'm just not sure that they completely have a solid roster.
Yes.
AEW, but it's tough love, Yeah, I can agree with that. Shout out to Jimmy Harris.
What's up? What's up?
So, yeah, I mean, it is what it is, I guess. But I don't think KO is going anywhere.
No.
And then to go along with the other question we had, and I'm just going to pull this one up. We had the question about the bloodline, and now you have Tonga Loa joining the bloodline too. So does that change the dynamic any more than what it already was?
Well, I think it just answers the question on whether if the bloodline is going to end or not. That was the whole purpose behind it. Was just because Roman went out doesn't change. I mean, we finally started to see Solo Sikoa come out of his shell. But these new guys that are coming in have twice the energy of any bloodline member. I mean, they're beasts. We haven't even begun to see them come out of their shell yet. I mean, they're going to make Sikoa look like what was the guy's name? Oh, shoot. He had wide eyes. He was underneath the ladder one time. Used to come out with Johnny Gargano. Blonde hair. He didn't talk. Shoot.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. But I can't.
Anyway, it's just when these bloodline members can come out, you're going to see that they have a lot of energy, man.
Yeah, they do.
A lot more than Roman, a lot more even than Jey Uso. And Jay's got tons of charisma. These guys are twice that. You'll see, but they have to. I mean, because even if you've seen Solo, he's a hysterical. He's got a great sense of humor, but he's got to keep it locked up all the time.
Yeah, definitely. And I can see that there's, more energy to the bloodline, like you say. And I think that people are probably going to get more invested with it than they did with Roman. But,
they weren't forced on us either. Not yet,
right.
anyway. The night's still young.
So, and Gabe says they already had a reputation from New Japan.
Correct.
Tonga can go.
Yep.
Especially tag team.
While he's spending all this time, he could be on with us. I mean, really?
Yeah, I know. But it is what it is.
Call a spade. I can't help it. Even if he's traveling, he can get on his cell phone. Unless he doesn't have service, but he's commenting. Here we go.
And Don McGuire says, where is Stephen E?
Good question.
Didn't know he was supposed to be here. They had to regenerate the bloodline. Yeah, they had to put more energy into it. I agree with that. And when Jacob gets on TV, it's going to be nuts. I think so too. There's a lot of people already clamoring for Jacob Fatu to come on, and when he does hit the scene, he is going to have one heck of a pop and blow the roof off of that place. I totally agree with that. And he says the service is hot dog water. He's going to be loading in all show. So there's the answer to your question.
So he's working. Good for him.
So, all right. Well, we are just we're just about 15 minutes away or so from our featured guest coming on, Chad Cash with the Pay Your Dues Wrestling. So normally at this point, we go into the FWWC segment, but unfortunately, Dewan is not allowed to join us at the moment. For those who follow the FWWC, there has been a lot of back and forth between Mata and the CEO, Dewan Mills. And Dewan actually broke into one of Mata's places and went after him and ended up getting his leg broke by the one and only Julius Cairo. And there is now some disciplinary action for Mr. Mills, and he won't be able to join us because he is
Grounded.
suspended. He is suspended until the outcome of a trial in the FWWC Wrestler Court.
Do 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 do.
Cairo says, "Who, me?"
Yeah, right.
Borderline crippled the man. Mata served him papers. Yes. So he will not be able to join us for an FWWC segment. So for those who follow it and they want to know what's going on in FWWC, we did have the pay-per-view this past weekend, and several of the matches ended up in a tie. And one match carried over to last night. That was the match between Remy Ricks and Luke Justice. And Luke Justice ended up coming out on top in sudden death. So that was that's what happened there. And then Susie Haas took the victory over Lecter. Then everybody else tied. Now this coming Friday, you will see Assad, Luchador DKC. You'll see him versus our Canadian friend Heel Deal in a sudden death match. First person to miss a pick is the one who will lose the match. So be interesting to see what happens there. So there's a lot going on over there. And as I said before, we got a lot of good competition in the FWWC. And you have people such as myself who, I can't get in the ring and do the things that are done, between my my back issues and some other issues. I just couldn't do it. So this gives us an avenue to be able to experience it. And we are as close to real life as you can get without stepping in the ring, because the ring is the only thing that's missing. We do role play, and that shows our knowledge of the wrestling world, and we create storylines, we promo, we have the challenges where we do picks, and really we have a good time with it. And so if you haven't seen the FWWC, be sure to check out Fantasy Wrestling Worldwide Chapter on Facebook. And I believe here soon there will be another segment coming up on X, where you get to learn more about the competitors of the FWWC. So definitely be sure to check that out, because we will be going more in depth with them. And I believe you'll be finding out more about them both in the FWWC world as well as their real life. So, and yes, we get titles, and they're real titles. As I said earlier, this one is the hardcore championship. That's not plastic. So be sure to check us out, and we just really have a good time with it. So that's what's going on in FWWC. So would you like to go ahead and take us into a snippet of truth there?
Well, and it's funny because I was wondering when Big Daddy P was going to come on. Because there are people who were looking to be encouraged today. You know, if even if you don't watch the news, even if you don't watch TV, even if you're watching just social media, there are so many things going on in the world that is causing everyone to be, you know, either stressing out or freaking out. And so I just wanted to share with you some truth tonight about where we are in the condition, because a lot of people don't understand in what order events are going to take place. Half the world says that we're waiting for the world to just blow up, right? And then there's another half that's waiting for Christ to come back. And then there's a whole group of people who are waiting for the aliens to come back. So I just wanted to make sure that at least the perspective I give today is one based upon truth. And that truth is only found in one place, and that's God's word. I didn't write it. I had nothing to do with it being put together. Thousands of years ago, it was put together for the purpose that we could understand what the hell's going on. So we're not surprised. And just wrestling in general, if you think about pro wrestling, the reason why pro wrestling was created was to create an environment that you could forget about the real world for a couple minutes. 2 hours, 3 hours, today, 4 hours. Just to set it aside, all your problems, and you get to focus on somebody else's. And I think that when you're in an environment where when Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Tuesday, Thursday, there's wrestling on, a lot of people have gotten away from all their problems. The problem is the problems haven't gone away. They used to go, you could go watch a movie for 2 hours and forget about your problems for the 2 hours. But the moment you stepped out of the movie, your problems were right back where they began. So the whole reason why Big Daddy P has been on this show is to give encouragement. It ain't about religion. It's about a relationship between you and me, between us and those who are all part of Wrestle Talk, and between the Lord. Because he created all things, including pro wrestling, including Wrestle Talk podcast, including you and me. And because I understand at the ripe old age of 53, I finally understand why the Lord put me here. And it had nothing to do with me, but you listening right now, because you sometimes get discouraged. I'm all about lifting people up, not pushing people down. But unfortunately, I belong to a church, which, in case anybody might know, if you were to ask how many churches there are in the whole world, many would say million, but there's one. And it's his church, and he's building it every day, and he's using us to love and encourage one another each and every day. The sin's paid for, so we don't have to worry about that. It doesn't mean we do whatever the heck we want. There is a bit of obedience, and part of the life that God has given me is to love and encourage and spend a few moments to give people hope, to let them know that just because the world's falling apart and things are looking crazy, there could be war, there could be this, there is war. There's been war for thousands of years. In Genesis 3:15, there was war right there. And that's what brought us to where we are today and why we're here, because the war's not over. The story is just begun. For those of you who are waiting for the Lord to come back, the Bible says we're going to meet him up in heaven. We're going to meet him up in the clouds. And then there's going to be tribulation on the earth. But then there's going to be 1,000 years of peace. Satan's going to get locked up. Then he's going to be re-released again for judgment. But the good news is we being able to recognize that it isn't all bad. There is good in this world. There is love in this world. And so we just want to be a part of that. We just want to, so we could joke around and we could talk about wrestling and we can, but in the end, I know that there are people who've been encouraged because of the show. And I know it's not typical or normal to put on a wrestling podcast, a prayer segment, and to talk about the Lord, but this isn't your normal podcast. God didn't make it like all the other ones. He made it unique. And it's for the audience members that he brings in. It's never about the numbers, but the growth in the number. If God could change the world with 8 and then change the world with 12, what do you think he can do with us? We can encourage each other. We can love one another. And that is my snippet of truth. Let me pray, and then we can go to our guest who has been patiently hanging out, waiting to come on. Father God, I thank you so much for this time. I thank you for the opportunity to host and talk about the sport that I love so much. I thank you for those that have joined us. There are so many people hurting, Father, so many families that are struggling right now, even to put food on the table. But we know that we're going to trust you. We know that in some way, some shape, some form, you always provide. And if you don't provide, there's a reason. We might not know what it is, but I thank you that we can be a part of your plan. I thank you for the show. We want to pray for Renee and for Luke and everybody who couldn't be on tonight, that you would continue to watch over them and protect them. Continue to open the doors for show 500 and all that you're doing. I'm so excited to see and hear all the wonderful things that are going to take place. But Father, right now, if there's anybody that happens to be listening that is without hope, that doesn't know you, that they would know that you wrote the words that said, "Come to me, all who are weary and heavy laden, who's tired, and I will give them rest." The Bible talks about an everlasting water, a water that you can drink and never get thirsty. And the Samaritan woman said, "Give me some of that so I don't have to come and draw water anymore." But Father, I know that story is all about you drawing us to you. And I thank you for this opportunity that I could pray. And I thank you for those who week in and week out support this podcast. We just thank you so much and we love you. And we ask these things in Christ's name. Amen. And now I don't have to leave right away.
Yeah, you get to stick around this time.
I get to hang out because I bounce from bang to bang to bang to bang to bang to bang to bang. It's all I do all day long.
So, all right. Well, we have had a pretty good show so far, and as always, it's a pleasure hosting with you, and looking forward to the rest of this show. Our guest is having a little bit of issues. He's trying to rectify there, so he's going to pop out and try popping back in the back room. But while he's trying to get that sorted out, let's go ahead and hit those sponsors one more time here. You want to read them out for us this time?
I'll be happy to do it. I'll do it in my great voice too.
All right, here they come.
We'd like to take our. Oh, wait, actually, I've got to move this. Oh man, see, I'm already going to blow it. Can I move this control because it's blocking it? I can't see it. You're going to have to read it, brother, because there's it's the bottom, the mute, the bottoms are blocking half of them.
Okay.
Go ahead.
All right. So, as always, we want to thank our great sponsors, Royal Mills Transportation, the one and only DeJuan Mills. Call him for all your transportation needs. You got Nobleman's Barber Lounge, KCMO, Kincaid Arcade at the Oak Park Mall, Interstate 70 Sports Media, Jeremy Carp and the guys over there, Little Popeyes Designs, where you get your very own Wrestle Talk podcast tumbler, and the FWWC, the world's premier fantasy wrestling group. You know, as you've heard us talk about them a few times tonight. So, all of our great sponsors. We want to thank them. We want to thank you guys for being here. And, we couldn't do this without you guys and our great sponsors. And we want to thank you no matter whether you're joining us live or joining us on the replay. We want to thank you for that. And just always a pleasure to be here to entertain you guys. And you guys have been great in the comments tonight. So I believe our guest is back in the back room now, ready to go. Hopefully we got everything worked out. So, okay. Just let me know when you're ready then.
So 3 Jews walk into a bar. No.
So while we wait on that, let's take a minute here and we'll go ahead and where is it at? There we go. We'll go ahead and we'll hit one more quick segment here because this shouldn't take too long. And by then, hopefully, he'll have everything worked out and ready to go. So let me cue the music.
It's just one of those days when you don't want to wake up. Everything is fun, everybody sucks. You don't really know why, but you want to justify ripping someone's head off. No human contact, and if you interact, your life's on contract. Your best bet's to stay away, motherfucker. It's just one of those days. It's all about the he says, she says bullshit. I think you better quit letting that slip, or you'll be leaving with a fat lip. It's all about the he says, she says bullshit. You better quit talking that shit.
So if you can't tell, we are going to go into the shoot and shout segment because we always love to do shoot and shout here. And sometimes we even have some of our great fans here will go ahead and drop a shoot and shout in the comments or something. And so by all means. So do you have a shoot and shout tonight, Big Daddy?
Well, I haven't had a chance to think about it. But I could probably last week I did this and I definitely had a shoot and a shout. I don't have any shouts this week because the colleges are doing their jobs and the people that are causing the disruptions are being put in place, although they are being let go right away. So really the only possible shoot that I could probably want to share. Look, our guest, he says, okay, finally he's ready. I don't want to take his time if we could get him. So when we're done with him, if we have time, I'll do my shoot.
All right. So we'll come back to that then since he's now got all the bugs worked out and seem to have everything good to go. So, ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to welcome to the show a man who has been around the business for many, many years. We've had him on the show before, talking about different events that he's had. And he has another event coming up called Tri-state Wrestival. He is the CEO owner of Pay Your Dues Wrestling. Sorry, I'm trying to multitask here. And he is the one and only Chad Cash. Welcome to the show, Chad. It's a pleasure.
Hey guys, thanks for having me. Thanks for having me. Had a little bit of technical difficulties. First, it was the I couldn't hear you guys, and then the camera wouldn't work on mine. Now we're good.
All right. Well, things always happen, but we overcome, and that's That's always the way things go. So, for those who don't know, as I said in the intro, we've had you on several times here, and normally we've had you on, and it's been for Celeb Fest and everything, but now you are running Pay Your Dues Wrestling. So, how did it come for you to decide to start Pay Your Dues Wrestling?
Kind of just the same way the convention thing happened. Like I've been to a couple, and I was like, I can probably do this. So, same deal with the wrestling promotion. I've been backstage at some local promotions and been to hundreds of indie shows. So, I wanted to try my hand at it.
And for those who haven't been to a Pay Your Dues show, what can they expect? What can they expect out of Pay Your Dues that they won't get at another show? What makes you stand out from all the other promotions?
We just try to be different. We try to have, good quality. Well, we don't try to be that different. We just want to have good quality matches, a good product, make the fans get their money's worth when they come out and see a show. Like, just not a generic thing, but we just want to put a good show on, make sure everyone's happy. We listen to the fans on things they want or they would like to see, and we try to bring it out there each and every time. Before we get in, I want to take a minute and the indie wrestling world locally lost a guy yesterday or maybe 2 days ago, Brandon Holman, who was Boom Hayden and Dick Dynamo, worked for me a couple times, and he was very loved and liked in the business and was a nice guy, great personality, good worker, and he will be missed.
Definitely. I hadn't heard about that, but, definitely going to be missed around the wrestling world, and our thoughts and prayers definitely go out to his family and everything. And, it's always it's always a big loss when you lose anybody in the business,
Yeah, it is a brotherhood and a sisterhood in the back and in the business and even the convention scene and just in the wrestling world, podcasters, vendors, merch guys. It's a family.
Yeah, and it really extends past the back, because even before I got into Wrestle Talk podcast, or before I got on the show, that is, I would go to independent shows, and the guys there, they would treat you like family there, and so even with just the fans, it all becomes an encompassing family, no matter whether you're working the show or whether you're there just to watch it. It's all greatly appreciated by the workers just as much as the fans, and they let you know it, and it truly does become family.
It's really one cannot do what it does without the other. The fans, wouldn't come enjoy it without the workers putting a good show on. The workers, wouldn't have the inspiration to work so hard for the fans, and it's just like I said, it all goes hand in hand.
Yeah,
I got a question. I got a question for you, because it's kind of funny how people don't realize until you become a promoter, till you have your own show, do you really realize what's involved, right? If there was anybody who was watching who is considering, because again, this show has guests from all over the country, not just one or two areas. Is there any advice that you would give to those who could be looking to have their own promotion?
Yeah, don't. It's a lot of work. It's a lot more work that goes on that people, would not even fathom. Like, I did the convention thing, and that was astronomical. And now doing these promotions, even though it's a small indie promotion, there is so much involved with the state athletic committee, getting the buildings, getting quality workers, security, vendors, want to bring merch vendors, food vendors. It's a lot.
Not to mention just the show itself.
Just the show itself. Then you got to get guys that want to help you with creative and referees and announcers. It's a lot involved.
One of the funniest lessons I learned, well, I was shocked at how many wrestlers didn't promote the show that they were going to be on. The fact that I would have to tell you to share the flyer on your social media is like, really?
It's pretty common. Honestly, it's pretty common.
Even
I've been
though
pretty lucky for the most part that most of the guys and girls will put it over. We'll put it on their social media, But
because that's what
I know it's a lot of that.
That's exactly what puts butts in seats. Say people hear about it, and if
Not even a promotion, they're promoting themselves. So, like,
yes.
if you want people to come out and see you or other promoters to see you, like, it's a good look for yourself to try and put the show over.
Well, and
a lot of guys and girls would make a little bit more money also if there's more people to come see them and go to the merch table and watch their match and be like, oh shit, I'd love a t-shirt or an 8x10. So self-promotion.
Matter of fact, I was just on your YouTube channel today and I noticed there's got a lot, man, you got some pretty good names there.
Yeah, we've been pretty blessed. Making good relationships, from the conventions and stuff like that. It helps out a little bit. My first ever show, I had Pillman Jr., who's now in WWE NXT, The Patriot, James Ellsworth, Suicide, Caleb Conley, Brittany Jade, who's been on AEW. She's been on Ring of Honor. She's all up and down the East Coast and the Indies. She's really good. So pretty good first card.
Yeah, so I've seen a lot of the cards you've posted, and you always seem to have a pretty good show lined up for the fans.
So kind of like I was wanting to bring in bigger names a lot of times, but I felt like now that we've built it a little bit, we don't have to do that. We have a solid product. Most of our lineup is pretty well known locally and in the tri-state area. So we do it a little bit, but we don't need to. I feel like our product's strong enough to stand on its own that we don't have to do like most indie shows and bring a name or two in. I feel like our storylines are good, our product's good, and it's ran very, very well. Our guys in the back and our girls in the back are excellent.
Then it sounds like the only thing left is to get you on TV locally, right?
We got some things in the work. We got some,
good
some
for you. Good. Good.
This area is very good. We have, MCWs here. They're one of the biggest in the country, and they put out guys and girls every month. Their schools ran well. We use a lot of their talent that they come from their schools and that wrestle on their shows, and this area is really, really good with indie wrestling.
Awesome.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of talent in this general area here, and so one thing I wanted, you hit me up and you had asked about coming on to promote Wrestle.
Yeah, I got a nice list here.
And I've been seeing some of the matches that all three promotions, because I'll let you explain it, but all three promotions have been putting out the matches, and it looks like there's going to be a lot of good hard-hitting action going on.
So we're going to do all three promotions. We've all, Voltage runs in Waynesboro and in Martinsburg. WDWA is out of Martinsburg, and we run, throughout Maryland, and we run also in Ranson. So I called the other two promoters and asked them if they wanted to do a joint kind of super show with all three promotions, and they both jumped on it. So we're each going to do three matches on the show. I have the lineup here, all but one match if you guys want to hear it.
Sure.
From Pay Your Dues, we have The Hype, who's a very good up and young coming tag team in the area. And they're going to take on my tag team champions, G-Fed and Ronnie Zuko. Veterans around, if you're around Maryland, in the last 20 years, these guys have been all over, several championships. I got Drew Hood coming up from North Carolina. This guy is phenomenal. He's a heel, and he will let you know it. And he will be signed within the next year, I would assume. Either NWA, TNA, or maybe even NXT. He'll be taking on self-made Mason Walls, and that's going to be for the first American Championship. My main event is going to be my heavyweight champion, Hoss Haygood, versus Big AC with Big Raj in his corner. And don't forget, guys, we got Buff Bagwell, NWO legend Buff Bagwell from WCW, Cowboy James Storm. All right, and then for WDWA's matches, they have Big Money versus The Misused, Austin Kingsley versus Kick Boss Victor Jones. And for the WDWA Championship, Rayo will be taking on either Zakar Shaw or DeMarcus Kane. They have a show on Saturday, May 11th, and the winner of that will take on Rayo for the championship. And then here is Voltage's matches. They have Cooper Housley, who is the slap. You ever seen slap on the Dana White slap competition thing? This guy's a number 7 heavyweight for slap. He's taking on Andino. And then for the Voltage Championship, Facade will be taking on Cowboy James Storm. And they have one more match still to be announced. I think he's going to have that together in the next couple of days. We're less than 2 weeks away, so I would assume that he's going to have that in the next couple of days together.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting to see this because, I'm sure you've seen it, and there's a lot of times that you can't get your other promotions in the area to actually work with you, and you end up going head to head almost at war with them just because they don't like to play nice. And
I don't believe in that, man. Like, there's enough money, there's enough fans, there's enough, there's enough for everybody.
Yeah. So to see 3 promotions come together and one thing and work together, it really is great to see that. And actually, I've got the Wrestival poster there for May 18th, Ranson Civic Center. And as you said, Cowboy James Storm and Buff Bagwell. So definitely going to be an awesome show, and I'm going to try to make it. I can't promise because I do have an engagement that day, and I don't know what time I'll get back from it. But if I get back in time, definitely looking to go. And for anybody who doesn't already have tickets, are there still tickets available at the door? And how much are the tickets?
We have tickets online. They're 20 for general admission, 40 for front row, and that includes the Buff Bagwell meet and greet with a photo op and an autograph. You can get them at the door as well, but online you can get them at okay, let me remember this now. VoltageWrestling.com/Wrestival.
And will there be some at the door as well?
There'll be some at the door.
Okay. Yeah,
we're going to open doors at 5:30 for meet and greets with all the all 3 talents. Buff Bagwell, James Storm. You never knew who might pop up in the area. We're going to do another one later in the year, probably in October or November, if this one goes well.
Definitely. Well, Perry, go ahead and jump in here. I mean, you haven't had a lot of chance to talk here with him. So
well, again, I can feel his pain as he was kind of laying out the list of all the things and how difficult running these promotions are. People just don't realize how much work is involved, and to see a group with 3 promotions coming together to make it's just sharing resources. It makes perfect sense, and I think there's a lot of people that could learn from that. So if you happen to be listening and you're hearing what we're talking about, you might want to talk to your friends and your other promoters to discuss this, because again, you can do so much more. What got you into it originally? How did you get into it?
just a Mark fan like everybody else, man. Like grew up watching wrestling and going to the stadiums and the hotels and getting stuff signed and pictures with these people, and just always been around it my whole life. So it's like, I kind of wanted to go behind the curtain and do it this way. So just to give myself a try, see if I could do it, see if I could handle it.
And it looks like you can handle it.
So far, it's very stressful. It's very stressful.
As I was sharing,
I wouldn't change anything. Like I love it. I love the business. Like I love interacting with fans and the other promoters and the wrestlers and the vendors and the referee. It's just cool, man. Like everybody's good. It's like we have a family back behind that curtain. So it's pretty cool.
Whenever everybody's on the same page, it makes perfect sense.
It is artwork, man. Like it is art. If you get to see it as in the front row, and then you get to see it from behind the curtain and get to know these people and the hard work that they put in and the years and the hours and the traveling and the bumps and bruises and the time away from family and stuff like that. It's just, you really appreciate it a lot more.
I remember running shows, and in the area that I was in, it was a rough area, kind of like North Tennessee, just a tough area. Hasn't been wrestling there in probably 30 years, And when we started getting set up, we had a show every Thursday night. And it was until I think it took probably 6 weeks until we finally had a big show where we had Kane come in, because we were doing the celebration for the JPWA, and Kane came in with Dr. Tom and sold the place out, man. And that was like, I finally could tell the accountants, look, see, we made a profit.
There is money in this area.
But it takes time. Again, you have to have a good team. And
I'm blessed. I'm blessed there. I have a really good, my fiance, it is a family affair. My fiance works the door. She handles all the money. I have a guy that in my back, Hall Saygood, that's pretty much like my head guy back there, my lieutenant. He, gets everybody together, gets on board. I do most of the creative, and then he just runs everything down, gets everybody their assignments, the referees and stuff like that. So it definitely takes an army to do this. Got a head referee that's good. He works all the local indie promotions. Justin Rogers, he's very good. And my commissioner is a former the head referee at MCW. So I got guys from all over, and they know the business. I definitely rely on those guys a lot.
Yeah. Not to cut in, but you mentioned referees, and one of the referees at WDWA, I'm not sure if he's ever reffed for you or not. He's reffed for a few different places around the area. And the originator of the Wrestle Talk podcast, Joe Lance, he actually
Little Joe.
He actually put a question in here. He said, what made you want to do a show with 3 promotions?
Just the area, like we all run in that area, and we just, we all bring something to the table, like a fist has, 5 fingers, and when you put it together, it makes a lot of power. So I figured, those guys run up there. They're 2 of the better promotions in that area. So, and I run up there, and I had some success, and the fans, we haven't been back in a little while, and we get messages all the time. Hey, when you guys coming back to Rance, and when you guys coming back? So I wanted to bring something, I wanted to kick the door back in when we go back. So we're going to try to do what we can, put on a good show. If it's a success, we're going to go back and try to do it again in the cold months and see what we can do.
How do you define success of a show?
I don't define the success monetarily like most people do. I would say if I go when I'm outside the curtain and I see kids are jumping up around making noise, they're happy, the fans are hot and they like the crowd, like the matches, that's success to me. Like anybody that's a wrestling promoter that says they want to do this to get rich in indie wrestling is fooling themselves, because if you break even and make a couple $100, that's success as well to me, because
As long as the boys are paid, I'm good.
this is a tough business, man. This is a very, very tough business. I'm in over a year, about 14 months now, and it hasn't gotten any easier.
Do you allow the fans to go live on social media for the show?
I don't mind.
Isn't that great?
We don't charge anything for YouTube, or we do raffles, we do we give stuff away, we throw shirts in the crowd, we just try. It's always about the fans, man. And we've built something, and our home base is really in a place it's called Halethorpe, Maryland. It's in Maryland. It's it's probably 20 minutes south of Baltimore, and it's an American Legion. It holds 250 people. We pretty much pack it every single time. It's a home base. We go a couple other places, and I built something there, and I'm proud of it, because I didn't expect it to be as strong as it is so soon, and I would only like to grow a little bit more.
Can you imagine having to after Paris and the crowd?
That was the most hot crowd I've ever seen. I had
a thought in my head. First of all, it was kind of distracting if you didn't know what they were saying. It was. I'm not taking away from the matches, but as a promoter, this is what you want, right? I mean, this is you want them to respond, and it makes the promotions in the United States.
We got work to do. That's for sure.
Because I mean, these independent crowds, they're passionate, man. I've seen some 70, 80, 90-year-old ladies just tear it down in the front row, man. I've seen crowds as little as 20 people, but there's that little lady that just, and to imagine seeing the opposite, it really forces all of us to up our game, to push more, because it's a great time to be in wrestling. It really is.
They sung every single theme music that came in there, like word for word. I'm like, Jesus, Mary and Joseph. That was the most live crowd I've ever seen in 40 years of watching wrestling.
Correct. Without a doubt.
Unbelievable.
Well, and not to mention 1, 2, Sacre Blue.
Yeah, Jesus.
Again, very involved. Actually, it's funny. I was wondering how long it was going to take another country to compete with Calgary, because Canada was huge, and now there's going to be this great big push. And at the same time, too, fans have to understand that the more you react, the better it gets.
Oh, absolutely.
That
was a good pay-per-view.
That's it.
That was a great pay-per-view.
Yes. Very good. Again,
I think the crowd made the pay-per-view a little bit better than it actually was, to be honest.
And I love how the Fireflies came back.
Oh, yeah.
That was just classy and done in such a nonchalant way. I don't know if anybody thought that was going to happen like that.
We got work to do here in the United States, I'll tell you that.
But again, with local shows, man, the lighting, everything matters. I mean, the fact that they have been able to successfully, we were talking earlier about this, how people are commenting how the sets are getting smaller. It's because they got to get in and get out faster. And because Endeavor's running it, they've realigned all their budgets to make sense, instead of blocking off 1,000 seats or 2,000 seats in one section, to make them smaller and get your seats back. It makes coming next year, this business, I really see a shift over the next couple years in the business. What we were used to once seeing is no longer going to be the same in it, like kind of how, obviously I hope it's never going to be like the Thunderdome again, but going from what do you do in that situation to here's what we're going to do with it. No one ever thought that was possible to do that. No. So this business is alive and very strong, both independently.
I don't think if Vince was still running the show in WWE, it would be as prevalent as it is right now. It would kind of stayed the course. I think I like the way Hunter's running things a lot better. bringing guys back, keeping guys around, and just throwing out really good shows.
Except they did not renew Lawler's contract as commentator.
Yeah, but Corey Graves is the new Lawler.
Yeah, he'll again, man, this is such a there's this, it seems to be like this chasm between the old and the new. And it's like, you just got to move on. You can't,
If you listen to Michael Cole and Corey Graves, it's a JR and Lawler 2.0.
That's it. And now with McAfee in it, it brings a whole new audience.
I love McAfee.
Again, man, the audience, if you compare the audiences from 5 years ago and the age ranges and the push, especially with Peacock, man, now they're sharing content like crazy in between all these different shows. We were talking earlier about how taking WrestleMania to Vegas. It makes perfect sense. You got
now
the UFC.
London.
Again, you think they're going to be louder?
Yeah, I think they'll beat Paris. They're going to have to.
It's good. It's a competition now.
Yeah.
They've clearly set the pace.
Philly didn't do it. Philly didn't come.
No, but Philly did okay. I mean, not again. How do you compare now that you've seen France, right?
There is no comparison.
No, you're right.
That's the bar. The bar has been set. That's the new bar.
Look at Raw last night. The pressure that was on them there, right? The show continued on. They didn't respond the way France did.
No.
Of course, I did notice myself fast forwarding a little bit more than normal because I've been spoiled to that French Revolution.
Yeah, it was awesome.
That's it.
But you talk about competition. Before we came on the air and everything, we were talking in the back, and we have what's called the Wrestle Talk Podcast Game Show Challenge. I think you've competed in it before. And do you know that Big Daddy P was telling me that he thinks he could win in just about any competition? So he thinks he can take you in that challenge.
Now, I haven't smelled the biggest load since that. Now, man, this is the first time I've seen this dude. So don't start. No, you see what he's doing? He's trying. This is that false heat he tries to create.
That's okay. I don't mind a little heat.
I don't mind competition either, but we just met, man. What are you trying to do here, Oz?
So would you be interested in taking on Big Daddy P in our Wrestle Talk Podcast Game Show Challenge tonight?
Sure. Let's do it.
All right. So we got a little bit of music for it here, and then we'll go ahead and get into it.
I'm trying to think the name of that game show. Is that the pyramid? Is that the $20,000, $50,000 pyramid or whatever it is?
I believe it is. So, all right. Welcome to this week's installment of the world-famous Wrestle Talk Podcast Game Show Challenge. Tonight's contest is scheduled for the best 2 out of 3 falls. Our contestants are the Wrestle Talk Podcast, Big Daddy P, and Pay Your Dues Wrestling's Chad Cash. In a few moments, we'll ask you 3 questions about a particular professional wrestling topic. When you think you know the answer to the question, just shout out the answer. The first person to win 2 falls wins tonight's Game Show Challenge. Tonight's Wrestle Talk Podcast Game Show Challenge category is $1 Million Wrestlers. I'll give you information about 3 famous professional wrestlers who are supposed to have made over $1 million. When you think you know the answer, shout out your answer. First person to win 2 out of 3 falls is tonight's contest winner. Do you understand the rules?
Yeah.
Yeah. The only challenge is that he's since he's our main star tonight, I have this heart of putting over. So, but I'm also very competitive. So let's see how this goes. We'll see.
All right. So if we're both ready to go, here we go. Question number 1. This professional wrestler was projected to make $2.5 million last year. Presently, he is tag team champion with R-Truth.
Miz.
The Miz it is, and I believe I heard Big Daddy start that one first. So, question number 2. This professional wrestler was projected to make $3 million last year. Some media outlets are saying that her contract, and feel free to shout out anytime you think you know the answer, that her contract is up.
Monique Monet.
No. In June
Charlotte.
24. No.
Oh.
Right now, she is
Becky
WWE.
Lynch.
Correct. Becky Lynch.
Oh, there you go. Hold it out. See, I should have just shut up and waited.
So 1-1.
Here we go.
All right. Question number 3. This professional wrestler is projected to make $5 million this year. Presently, many people are wondering if or when he will return to the Blood.
Brock
Bowl.
Lesnar.
It is not Brock Lesnar. Roman Reigns is correct.
He doesn't
I
make
want
fun.
him to come back so bad. I'm so sick of the freak. And wait, oh, there's our shoot right there.
So
Talking about
that
wokeness. Anyway,
So congratulations, Big Daddy P. You have won tonight's Wrestle Talk Podcast Game Show Challenge. And if I can find it, I've got some music here. There it is.
that's my award.
All right. So thank you for being here with us, Chad.
Nah, thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it.
Before we
At
let
only
you go,
hold on, only $5 million. I mean,
I did not write
these
the
guys
question.
are on the road constantly, right? And football players only play once a week, if that. They're making hundreds of millions. He only makes $5 million, Roman Reigns.
Like I say, I did not write the question, so that's what I was
Even
given.
merchandise. I mean, God, what he's got to be making a. Now you're gonna have. I'm curious now. What? Because Brock ain't coming for 5. I'll tell you right damn now.
No.
There's
I thought
no
he was
way.
at $5 million, though.
No.
I thought he was
Brock-
a $5 million guy.
Brock is, because actually there was an alternate question,
10.
and
That's-
according to many reports, Brock Lesnar makes nearly $12 million a year in his last WWE deal.
Wow.
And he worked really hard this last run, man. He had a lot of matches this last run. He was that
This
was
is
the
best
most
I've ever seen him, I think. This was his best run.
Absolutely.
So, but
And- Just because he likes feces or urine, leave the man alone. Whatever happened to equity and diversity? I mean, what's with you people? Say one thing in one mouth out of the mouth and say the other. Come on.
He'll be back. He'll be back. They got to let the smoke clear a little bit. He'll be back.
Totally, dude. That's what it is, for sure. And hey, what do you guys think about the rumor about Vince starting another promotion?
He might pop up on AEW TV. You never know.
It just depends how much cash he has left after this whole ordeal.
well, he sold all of his shares, so he's got some stock from that. But
$770 million bucks.
That's it, right? We could do a little bit with that, right? I mean,
if he doesn't run it better than he was WWE towards the end, it won't go over.
The problem with him always was the control factor. I think when you surround yourself with a bunch of, good guys in the back, then you're fine. He had a lot of good guys back there for years.
What if he's vengeful, though?
What's that?
What if he's vengeful? What if a little bit of him is pissed off?
He's got a little bit of gas left in the tank. Let him.
All he needs is somebody like Jeff Jarrett to go, and just maybe, because even $1 Million Man was asked recently, if Vince called you, would you come back? He said,
He would go back.
Yeah, of course.
Of course, all of them would go. A lot of those guys would go.
But, you were mentioning good people in the back, and you mentioned Justin Rogers. Now, when you look at him in WDWA, he says he calls it straight down the line, but the line he's looking at, I think, is crooked. So you got to watch Justin Rogers.
You got to come out in May to see what's going on. It's going to be a good show.
But
and it doesn't start till 7:30, also you can make it.
Well, like I say, I plan on trying. Honestly, that day I have my graduation from ministry college. So it depends on what time.
They'll be at the buffet 2 hours later, baby. Come on. You'll have time. Get yourself there. You have time.
There's no other shows. There's no other shows going on in the area. I mean, it's going to be a good, it's not a holiday weekend. There's plenty of things to do. Come on out.
Well, I have heard there's one other show in the area going on.
That's not a show.
Wait, did I just hear
shows in the mud? Shows in the mud. Shows in the mud, or shows in a closet are not shows.
I'm going to play Haas for a moment. Do I have something in my ear? Tell me that Haas said he is going to be there. Wait, what's that report? Oh, he is going to be there. Oh, he's going to. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I just got word that you're going to be there, Haas.
If I do make it, let me warn you now. If I do make it, Susie will be with me, and if Susie and I are coming to this show, please beef up security around James Storm, because otherwise she might just try to kidnap him.
Yeah, we got security. We got a couple security.
Yeah.
We'll let her get a couple feels in.
Love Cowboy, great guy, man.
He is the best.
He's mellowed over the years, which is really great for his career, because for a while there, I was concerned that his head was just like he couldn't fit through the door, and something changed, and his whole career just at that point just pushed forward, which is great.
He's doing movies and stuff now. He's relaxed, more about the family. Good guy. Good guy.
Absolutely, without a doubt.
All right, so but before we let you go, because I know you got to get up early in the morning and everything, but before we let you go, if you can just shout out all your social media for us so that our fans know where to find you and where they can find Pay Your Dues Wrestling and check that out. And we have
Instagram. It's Pay Your Dues Pro Wrestling. Just you can search it, Pay Your Dues Pro Wrestling. Same with Facebook, Pay Your Dues Pro Wrestling, and we are on Twitter and TikTok, Pay Your Dues Pro Wrestling, or PayYourDuesProWrestling.com. Pretty simple, pretty easy. Pay Your Dues Pro Wrestling, everything.
All right, so definitely be sure to check them out there, because I've seen where they've been putting on shows. I will be honest, I have not had the opportunity to make one. It seems like something always comes up on the nights that you're running, but I definitely want to make one. And I've seen the shows that have been put out. I've seen the talent on the posters, and they look like they are, hard-hitting matches. Look like they're good time. And I have checked out, the YouTube and stuff and seen it there. So I have been following it, but just haven't gotten a chance to make it, but definitely want to. So make sure that if you haven't checked them out, make sure you do. So any final words you want to leave us with there, Chad?
The Wrestival, 518 Ranson Civic Center, Voltage Pro Wrestling, WDWA, and Pay Your Dues Pro Wrestling will put on one hell of an event. Try to come out there and see it live.
All right. Well, thank you very much for being here. We appreciate it, and we'll
Thank you,
definitely
guys.
be talking to you again soon.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate it, brother.
Well, Big Daddy, it looks like we got another show in the books.
We did it. 18
So-
shows to go now, not 19, 18.
Yes. And, I'm sure I know some of the people that we have lined up for the next 18 shows. And I know there's some really good talent that's going to be coming on, and there are going to be some interesting interviews and some interesting people. So make sure you don't miss it and come back and see us. So your thoughts on tonight?
It was great. Again, I was not familiar with that promotion or that promoter, so it was great to meet him and hear all and see all that he's doing in the area. Again, man, it's such a great industry that we're a part of, and to get down what I call into the weeds and see all that's going on, it's just awesome. It's great. It's great to be in pro wrestling in 2024, man. There's a lot of good. There's a lot of good promotions out there that are really filling in the gap. Because again, it's much more affordable to go to an independent show. Even if you spend money on meet and greets and food, it's easier for a family of 4 to go to those than it is sometimes to go to these events. These WWE are they're again, for what they have to pay for insurance and promotion. He spoke truthfully when he said, if he gave advice to anyone who's thinking about don't do it. Because if you do it and it's not done right, then you'll get burned out. And I know what it's like to be burned out. I was there. There was a while I had to step back and go, that was, of course, it was only a couple weeks, but just one of those things. So just very, very glad that we get to be a part of this, and looking forward to the Snippet of Truth next week. And hope I was able to help add to the show and not take away from it, since I love being an adder, not a consumer. So.
Oh, you definitely were, and it was a pleasure to be able to host with you, and hopefully you'll be able to come on and host with us again, and I look forward to being able to host with you again sometime. It's been a pleasure, and it's been a lot of fun.
Timing is everything. Always is, God willing.
All right, before we get out of here one last time, I want to hit those sponsors one last time. Thank you to all of our great sponsors: Royal Mills Transportation, the one and only Dewan Mills, Nobleman's Barber Lounge, KCMO, Kincaid Arcade at the Oak Park Mall, Interstate 70 Sports Media, Little Popeye's Designs, where you get your Wrestle Talk podcast tumblers, and the FWWC, the world's premier fantasy wrestling group. And obviously, I want to thank you to the fans for being here tonight. Thank you for sticking it out with us for these 2 hours. Be sure to check us out again next week. And if you're watching on the replay, thank you again for checking us out on that replay. We're happy to have you here. Be sure to share the show with all the others. And we're just going to keep on trucking right up to episode 500. Be sure not to miss us. So for Luke Skywalker Roberts, for Renee the Night Owl Martinez, for Gabriel Arsene, for Big Daddy P, I'm Hardcore Haas. Thank you, each and every one, and we'll see you right back here next week for another episode of the Wrestle Talk Podcast.